Okay, I am Diego Sarmiento, and I'm going to talk about sociocultural theory and interaction hypothesis in second language acquisition. Let's begin. Sociocultural theory. The main exponent for this theory is Lev Vygotsky. It is applied to second language acquisition by James Lanton, Merrill Swain, and others. The core idea of this theory is that learning is first social, then is internalized by the individuals. The key concepts of sociocultural theory are zone of proximal development, the difference between what a learner can do alone and with help. Mediation. Learning is mediated by tools. That means that we use language, technology, or the help of peers. Scaffolding. Temporary support given by a teacher or peer. Private and inner speech. Language as a tool for thinking and self-regulation. The sociocultural theory in a second language learning. It emphasizes collaborative dialogue and social interaction. Teachers act as facilitators or mediators. Learning occurs through participation and communication, not only on input. Encourage peer collaboration and meaningful tasks. The second theory I'm going to talk about is more than a hypothesis. It's called the interaction hypothesis. The main exponent is Michael Long. He was influenced by Stephen Cashin and Evelyn Hatch. The core idea of this hypothesis is that language is acquired through interaction and negotiation of meaning. The key concepts of interaction hypothesis are comprehensible input. That means that interaction makes input understandable. The negotiation of meaning. This means that communication breakdowns lead to clarification and learning. Modify interaction, where speakers simplify, repeat, or rephrase during conversation. Feedback and noticing, where learners notice gaps in their language and adjust. Focus on form. The interaction helps learners pay attention to grammar while communicating. Interaction hypothesis in second language learning. It promotes prayer and group work to encourage interaction. Teachers provide feedback and recast to guide learners. Emphasizes communication-based tasks with real meaning. The key difference between sociocultural theory and interaction hypothesis. The aspect that we are going to focus first is the focus of the theory and the hypothesis. For sociocultural theory, we focus mainly in social mediation and internalization, whereas interaction hypothesis, we focus on negotiation of meaning. When we talk about the interaction role, for the sociocultural theory, we have that it builds cognition, cognitive development. And for interactive hypothesis, we can see that it provides comprehensible input. The learning mechanisms of sociocultural theory is based on the zone of proximal development, mediation, and scaffolding, thus being the most predominant features. And for the interactive hypothesis, we see that we can learn through feedback and noticings. The roles for the sociocultural theory is that teachers work as mediators, whereas in interactive hypothesis, we have conversational partners, people who get along with the learner and exchange communication. The root theory, we can see that the sociocultural theory was based mainly in the Vygotskian psychology. And the interactive hypothesis, we can see that this hypothesis was based in the basic knowledge of psycholinguistics. The conclusion are that both theories highlight the importance of interaction. Sociocultural theory focuses on social and cultural mediation, whereas the interactive hypothesis focuses on linguistic interaction and feedback. Together, they show that learning a language is both social and cognitive process. For the first activity, I'm going to talk about the sociocultural theory, and we can use a collaborative writing task with the level B1, this being the intermediate level. The duration of the task is the duration of the activity would be 40 minutes. We focus mainly in writing and peer collaboration. The objective is that the students will collaboratively write a short paragraph using past tense verbs, developing language through social interaction and scaffolding. For a workbook activity, we can show a few photos for a class trip or an event. We can ask a student to describe what happened, use past tense verbs. In the pair work, this will take place for around 20 minutes, where we ask the students to work in pairs and co-write a short paragraph describing the event that happened in the past. We can encourage them to discuss word choices. We can encourage to discuss grammar and different ideas. We can circulate throughout the class and providing scaffolding where students struggle. For example, we can give them hints or modeling a structure. For peer mediation, the pairs exchange paragraphs and give peer feedback, focuses on meaning and form. For sharing, volunteers read their paragraphs aloud. The class provides positive comments and suggestions. What is the teacher's role here? The teacher will be working as a mediator and a facilitator. We can offer guidance and language support as needed. We can also provide graduated assistance with students, some of proximal development. What is the connection to the sociocultural theory is that the students work together and co-construct knowledge through social interaction. The teacher and peers act as mediators. Learning occurs as the student internalize the language from collaborative dialogue. The second activity, this is regarding the interaction or an interactive hypothesis. For this activity, we're going to talk about we're going to work on information gap gain. This is for level A2 or B1. The duration is around 30 minutes. The focus of this activity will be speaking and listening, interaction and negotiation of meaning. The objective is students will use question and clarification strategies to negotiate meaning and complete the task collaboratively. The setup we can divide students into pairs, give student A a picture of living room and student B a slightly different picture with missing or some extra items. The interaction will take place during 15 minutes, when students must identify 5 differences by asking questions. The example of this question could be, is there a lamp next to the sofa? What's on the table? And so on. We can encourage them to use clarification requests and repetition to check for understanding. The teacher observes and takes notes of how learners modify interaction. For the feedback, as a class, we discuss strategies that help communication. Teacher gives corrective feedback. For example, we recast or explicit corrections. The teacher roles here would be that the teacher encourages interaction and negotiation of meaning. And we have to provide feedback and reformulation to make input comprehensive. What is the connection of this activity to interaction hypothesis is that learners receive comprehensible input and output throughout the interaction. Communication breakdowns trigger negotiation of meaning. Feedback promotes noticing and linguistic development. And that will be all. Thank you for attending.